Duffy, and today we're going to do two lives. We're doing Why Humans Misread Emotion Under Stress, and part two is the psychology of group dynamics. And if you know about stress, which many of us do, a lot of us tend to over exaggerate stress, meaning our emotions are more thin, our patience is thin, and we are struggling with trying to keep it all together. And oftentimes, it's almost like our brain stops during stress. So, if you can relate to that, you know, stress is oftentimes not good for us. So, of course, we're going to misread emotion under stress. We're going to misread motives. We're going to misread what people are thinking about us potentially because we're so stressed. We don't really know how to process that in real time and how to keep ourselves from going into potentially a spiral where we're overthinking, overdoing, overanalyzing, because anything could be a threat at that point. When you're tired, when you're spread thin, when you have certain emergencies, maybe you have a family member who's in the hospital, like I've had, and you just get really sad and really upset about things. And you feel like, the sky is falling, Chicken Little, the sky is falling. And it can be something that can feel like, they say the straw that broke the camel's back, right? And oftentimes it's like you can deal with all of these things, and then there's one moment where it all collapses, right? And so we can be really hard. It can be really hard to handle. Good morning, Prada. How are you? What time is it there? Oh, good evening. Welcome, welcome. I'm good. How are you? Thank you for the like, Prana. I appreciate it. 7 a.m. Well, it is 9:49 p.m. where I am. So, yeah, so you guys are about what? 12 hours behind us? Good to see you. So, today we are talking about why humans misread emotion under stress and the psychology of group dynamics. Well, I'm glad to see you. Tonight, I want to talk about how badly humans often misinterpret behavior during emotionally charged moments. Because stress changes people, as we all know, right? When we get stressed, we may not be ourselves. We may be cranky. We may be upset. We may be hanging barely on by a thread. And so under pressure, humans may freeze. I tend to have that response. I don't know how many of you can relate to that. I am terrible with stress. My husband actually was trying to have me help him with his finger because he had almost cut off his finger and I literally could not function. Oh, thank you. Yes, it's great to see you as well. I'm so glad that you were able to join us. I know that you've been busy and stuff, and I didn't realize that you guys were like 12 hours behind us. Goodness. May laugh nervously. I tend to do that because I'm an awkward person. I'm a goofy person, and I laugh loudly too. So, hey, there's that. Shut down, fidget, or become emotionally flat. Never flat, right? Never flat. Always emotionally try to, emotional person at times. Talk excessively, which could be mania, or react inconsistently. But observers often assume behavior has one obvious meaning. And honestly, that assumption creates enormous social conflict. Because if we assume that everyone handles life the way that we do, then we would be wrong. We would be very, very, very wrong. Because there are certain people that when they're nervous, they laugh. There are certain people whose face turns red when they're embarrassed. There's certain people who would rather laugh than cry. I'm one of those people. And I laugh at things. I laugh at, people's rhythm of their voice. I laugh at all sorts of things. Not because I'm making fun of people, not because I'm, wanting to insult them or hurt their feelings, but that's just who I am. I would prefer to laugh instead of cry. And I know a lot of other people are very similar to that. And some of the things I laugh at, people don't understand, but hey, it's me, right? I'm an attorney. That's why I have a true crime podcast. And then I also have a psychology podcast as well. So, and so the other thing too is humans constantly confuse observation with certainty. Buffy. Yep. And so essentially, just because you observe someone and you have a read on them, Buffy with a B, Buffy, B, like Buffy, like boy, or box, or Brad. But yes, good job, Prana. Good job, Buffy. Yes, puffy is like your eyes are puffy. And so a nervous laugh becomes approval. Silence becomes agreement. Emotional flatness becomes lack of care. But as we know, that's not always the way, right? And psychology is far more complicated than that. If we were all the same, we wouldn't need psychology, would we? We would know exactly what someone was feeling when they did whatever behavior. And honestly, people become behaviorally strange when their nervous systems are overwhelmed. And many of us do get overwhelmed quite a bit, which is why thoughtful analysis requires humility, context, and restraint, especially in criminal cases, public controversies, viral moments, and emotionally explosive environments, because humans are deeply unreliable interpreters when emotion takes over. So let's go to part 2, the psychology of group dynamics. And I actually have an interesting experience on group dynamics. Last week was the election. Can you send me that? Can you get on my page and send that to me? And I will definitely look for it, Prana. Send me a comment on my page and tell me your page name, and I will go to it and check it out, okay? Because I hadn't yet received that. So I was actually at the election results last week, and we had a sheriff and his wife who essentially lost their jobs, and unfortunate. And the gentleman in charge was the president of the party, and he decided to have a shirt made with the guy's inmate number because he had gotten arrested for something. And then on the back, he turns around, he rips off his jacket, and he has his mugshot on the back, and he's showing it, and he's flexing Republican, and he's flexing. And there are so many people who were laughing and cheering and jeering. And I was actually on the camera because I won my election. And I was so disgusted because my instinct was like, run. And absolutely, yeah, I am a believer. And I don't treat people like that. I don't bully people. I love all people. Period. I treat people the way that I want to be treated. I think that's extremely important. And I think that bullying people and trying to embarrass them and humiliate them is very not cool. So I had lots of people. Yeah, I'm going to be a delegate, which gets to decide on certain things, certain elections. So I think that that'll be interesting. But ultimately, awesome. Yeah. But I just, had so many people ask me, were you cheering? Were you laughing? I was like, no, I don't bully people. I mean, if you know me and you saw that video, you would definitely see that I was shocked. And what's funny is the other gentleman beside me was also an attorney, and we both had the same reaction. However, he said that I seemed a lot more composed than him, and he wished he had had my composure. but I was not composed. I was extremely anxious and I felt extremely, what's the word, put on the spot. And so that was extremely uncomfortable for me. I think I've had some Indian food before, but it's been a while. It's been a while, you know? So I don't know. I mean, I try different things sometimes. I'm just not really big of a seafood person though, myself, but you know, hey, just me, I guess. And so I was thinking like in that scenario, because groups change people, right? People have the mob instinct. They want to, okay, if I can, sure. They might behave calmly one-on-one, and then they become reactive, performative, aggressive, or emotionally amplified inside a crowd because they have the whole group think, right? When one person from a group does something, others want to escalate it. I appreciate it, Prana. And honestly, humans are constantly monitoring social approval, group emotions, status, belonging, and safety. That's why emotionally charged public environments can become psychologically volatile very quickly. And that became very volatile. Some people get swept into the emotional energy. Some become uncomfortable observers. That was me. Some psychologically freeze. I felt like that. Some become louder and more performative. And some emotionally detach. I mean, I just felt it was just crazy. And honestly, this is why emotionally independent thinkers are so important, to get people to think before they act, right? To not be crazy. Because emotionally mature people retain the ability to ask, does this actually align with my values? Instead of simply, what is the crowd doing? And ultimately, I don't follow the crowd. I do what I think is right for my ethics and my values. And I think one of the most important psychological skills a human being can develop is maintaining conscience inside emotionally charged group environments. Because other people aren't going to be behaving appropriately, you need to do better, right? Because history repeatedly shows us groups are capable of becoming cruel very quickly when emotional momentum overrides empathy. We all need empathy, don't we? So I just want to say thank you so much, Prana, for hanging out today with me, and send me that message and I will get it looked at for you. I'll send you a message on your page. And I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in. And I hope that you have a great rest of your day. And I hope to see you again soon. And get some rest, right? Or I guess maybe you're going to be going to bed soon, probably, or going to be up and moving here soon because you guys are 12 hours ahead of us. So thank you so much, Prana. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. And like I said, send me that information and I'll definitely check it out tomorrow. Okay. Hope to see you soon. Bye.